The village that disappeared every full moon. Deep in the forgotten corners of the world lies a place that exists on no map. This mysterious village only breathes and appears when the moon is perfectly full. They say once you step inside its borders, you never return as the same person. Meet Arjun, a journalist who believed every mystery had a logical, scientific explanation. Arjun spent his days chasing urban legends, armed with nothing but his professional camera. He became obsessed with the rumors of Chandipur, a village that vanished every single month. To Arjun, this wasn't a ghost story, it was the perfect lead for his next viral blog post. He traveled to a remote, dusty town located on the edge of a dense, suffocating forest. As he approached the woods, the air grew heavy, as if unseen eyes were tracking his every move. Stopping for a break, Arjun found a small, weathered roadside tea stall. There he met Kaka, an old tea seller with a face etched by years of hardship. Kaka's hands trembled violently as he noticed the professional camera hanging around Arjun's neck. The old man whispered a dire warning, "Don't go near the forest tonight, son. The full moon is rising." Kaka pleaded with him to stay away from the elusive village of Chandipur. Arjun just laughed, dismissing the old man's fears as mere fairy tales for children. He told Kaka that logic and evidence were the only things he believed in. Kaka looked him dead in the eyes, his voice turning cold and serious. "It's not ghosts we fear, boy. It's the village itself. It takes who you are," Kaka warned. Ignoring the warning, Arjun stepped into the woods as the sun finally dipped below the horizon. As the giant, silver full moon climbed the sky, the forest began to warp and change. The trees seemed to move on their own, shifting branches to create a clear, inviting path. Suddenly, the thick brush opened up to reveal the breathtaking sight of Chandipur. The village was a paradise, with pristine houses and streets paved in shimmering white stone. The air was thick with the sweet, intoxicating scent of fresh jasmine. Children laughed and played with wooden toys, their joy seeming genuine and endless. Women in colorful attire cooked aromatic meals in open, sunny courtyards. Everyone Arjun encountered wore a wide, welcoming smile that felt almost too perfect. Fascinated, Arjun walked through the streets, capturing every detail with his camera. However, as he reviewed his photos, he noticed a detail that made his heart race. The moon was bright, casting long, dark shadows for every building and every tree. But the people, not a single villager cast a shadow on the white stone ground. Just as the realization hit him, a frail old woman named Daddy approached him. Daddy had a smile that was unnervingly wide, revealing far too many teeth. In a sweet, humming voice, she invited Arjun into her home for a welcoming dinner. Arjun felt a strange, hypnotic pull as he followed Daddy into her quaint, dimly lit cottage. Inside, the walls were lined with hundreds of old clocks, all ticking in a haunting, perfect unison. Daddy served him a lavish feast of colorful sweets and aromatic spicy curries that smelled heavenly. As Arjun began to eat, Daddy leaned in close, her wide smile never wavering from her face. She gave him one strict rule: no matter what he heard, he must never look outside after midnight. Arjun promised to obey, but his journalistic curiosity began to burn like a fire inside him. He spent the evening pacing the room, wondering what secret the village hid at the stroke of midnight. He sat by the window, his eyes glued to the clock as the minutes ticked slowly away. 11:58, 11:59. The tension in the air became thick and suffocating. The moment the clock struck 12, Arjun couldn't resist and pushed open the heavy wooden shutters. The paradise vanished instantly, replaced by a grey, decaying nightmare of ash and ruins. The beautiful villages were gone, in their place were creatures crawling on all fours with twisted limbs. Their eyes glowed a piercing, demonic red, and their smiles had split their skin from ear to ear. They gathered around a massive, ancient banyan tree, chanting in a language that sounded like grinding stones. Driven by instinct, Arjun raised his camera and began recording the disturbing rhythmic dance of the creatures. Suddenly, every single creature stopped moving and turned their heads in perfect unison toward him. A piercing scream ripped through the silence, and the creatures launched themselves at the house like insects. Panic seized Arjun, he scrambled backward, tripped over a chair, and dove through the back door. He sprinted into the dark forest, his heart hammering against his ribs as he gasped for air. Every time he thought he had found the exit, he found himself standing right back at the banyan tree. Realizing the village was a loop, Arjun spotted a hollow opening in the trunk of the ancient tree. He crawled inside the hollow, only to find hundreds of faded photographs pinned to the inner wood. He recognized the faces from missing person reports. Every traveler who had vanished was captured here. Horrified, he watched as the faces in the picture slowly morphed into that same creepy, white smile. He understood the truth: the village didn't kill people, it absorbed their souls and identities. A cold, dead hand touched his shoulder, and Arjun spun around to find Daddy standing behind him. Daddy whispered that he would make a wonderful addition to their family, her eyes glowing red. Remembering a legend about sunlight, Arjun pulled out his lighter and set the dry photographs on fire. The flames erupted instantly, turning the ancient banyan tree into a towering pillar of fire. The creatures outside let out a collective shriek of agony as the illusion of the village began to peel away. Arjun ran with all his might, the world blurring around him as the nightmare dissolved into ash. As the first golden ray of sunlight hit the horizon, he burst through the tree line and collapsed on the road. He returned to the city and tried to show his footage, but the camera played only blank white noise. Months later, while walking under the midday sun, Arjun noticed something horrifying beneath his feet. He had no shadow, the village had kept a piece of him, and now, the next full moon had arrived. Arjun woke to the smell of jasmine and saw the gate of Chandipur on his city street, smiling a wide, unnatural smile.